Well, hi, everybody. I'm AJ Willoughby. Glad to be back with you again. It's another Monday. Can you believe that? Which means it's product call time. And this is the time when you get to find out all the answers, all the things you've been wondering about the M products, the sticks, the thing, everything it is that we've got. We cover a different one each week. Sometimes we cover several different ones. Tonight, we're going to be talking about CoreAO, which we've talked about several times. But tonight we've got a testimony from someone who's got a very unique testimony that I know there's a lot of people out there that have experienced very similar issues. And we're going to find out a little bit about why is it that CoreAO is helping with all this different stuff. And that's why we've got the head of the medical advisory board, Dr. Templeman, on board with us and everything also. So right now, though, we're going to go straight to Allie. And Allie O'Neill is joining us. Hi, Allie. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great.
So, Allie, you've got a very unique story that, one, obviously, I couldn't be able to begin to. So I'm going to let, but the thing is like, wow, I've heard about this. I can't say I've experienced it, but I've heard about it a lot. So I know a lot of women, especially, dealing with this. So tell us a little bit about your story and what's going on.
So I have fibroid tumors in my uterus. And so, like lots of women, I get a lot of pain during my periods. And it's something that I've dealt with like off and on throughout my life, but especially the last couple of years, it's gotten way worse. It's gotten way worse since I had my baby 3 years ago. And it was getting to the point late last year where I was thinking maybe I should like check with my doctor and see if there's anything that I could do for it. But I wasn't really interested in a surgical option. One of my friends just had a hysterectomy and she's miserable. And I'm like, I don't want to go through that, you know? But it got really, really bad starting around January of this year to where my cycles were only 21 days. And I was in pain for like the first 3 days of every cycle. So 3 days every 21 days, that is a lot. I felt like I never had time to recover. I went straight from like PMS symptoms to like all this pain. And it was just like, it felt like I never caught a break. And so toward the beginning of the summer, I was thinking like, okay, this is it. I definitely need to maybe try some nutritional supplements or something. And I was in the process of researching it when I started hearing about CoreAO. And I started watching these videos and I started hearing these testimonies and I started hearing Dr. Templeman talk about tumors and other kinds of inflammation. And I'm like, okay, I want to try something that's natural based instead of medically based. So I'm going to try this. And so I went ahead and I bought some and I started taking it every day. And my cycle length, it increased that first month, and I had a lot less pain the first day. The second day I woke up and I had a full body migraine. It was just head to toe pain, nausea. I thought, well, I can't even function today whatsoever. So I had my husband mix me up a water bottle of Core. And I took it with one ibuprofen and I went to sleep and I said, we'll see how I feel when I wake up because I have no idea if I'm going to be functioning today at all. I slept for maybe 45 minutes. I woke up, everything was gone. I had no nausea. I had no dizziness. I had hardly any pain at all. I had a teeny, tiny, mild headache, and that was it. And I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow, I went from having all of this pain to where I could barely keep my eyes open and I couldn't hardly walk to feeling just totally fine pretty much, except for just a tiny headache. And throughout that entire cycle, I only had to take that one ibuprofen is the only thing I took the entire cycle. And then we had another month went by. This was 24 days. So still not perfect, but still a lot better than 21. We're like heading in the right direction. And I just actually finished yesterday, and I was telling some of my friends, I can't believe this. I didn't need to take a single pain medicine the entire time. I didn't spend a single hour on the couch with my heating pad. I was able to drive and go all the places I like to go, do all the things, everything from taking care of my kid and doing chores and playing games with my friends and everything. And I just had the regular kind of mild discomfort rather than intense debilitating pain. So to me, I'm like, it's got to be the core. It's the only real thing. It's the only real change that I've made. And I've had this pain for so long. And I'm like, it's the only thing. It's the only thing I can imagine it could be, because it's the only change I've made in my life. And I'm a total believer now. I'm going to keep taking it, definitely.
You know, that's one thing that I think that we hear a lot of people that say, you know, I didn't know whether it would work for me. I tried it, and I just can't believe the difference that it's made. And, you know, we never come out and we never say, hey, this is going to cure this or cure that. No, that's not what we say is, hey, you know what? Try it. See if it works for you. See if you notice a difference. And that's what we're seeing. And, you know, I've heard other people say the same things that you're saying. I've actually heard this about the CoreAO and the mangosteen and what it does. And I'm always trying to figure out, okay, well, why is this? Of course, I don't really know a whole lot about all that other than the fact that I know this stuff works. And that's what makes it important. And for you, Allie, I mean, you got a whole life change, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can make plans now. I don't have to say, well, I'll be coming over if I'm not having a horrible weekend or whatever. It really did make a huge difference.
So total life-changing experience. Dr. Templeman, tell us.
And I can spend time with my kid, which is what I really love, you know?
That is what's important. Absolutely. So Dr. Templeman, tell us a little bit what's going on here medically. Why are we seeing the changes here?
Well, once again, I believe that what we're looking at is the control of inflammation by a natural product. I'm just going to refer back to the fact that when I was in my practice, and of course was seeing people with difficulties with menstruation, because dysmenorrhea, which is the medical term for it, is an extremely common thing. And it's worse in younger women usually than it is in older women. But some women will go through their whole reproductive life suffering a few days of dysfunction that is almost total for them for the whole of their time, for their whole of their reproductive life cycle. And it isn't anything that men can identify with, because my daughter said to me once, men are wimps. If they had to have one period, there would be just so much, everything would have to shut down in the house. We would have to have the lights off. It would have to be quiet. And she said, it just isn't that way. I think it's like childbirth. She also told me that if men had to have the babies, there would be one per family, and that would be it. So you can imagine the consequences for the human race for that. But I do remember that young girls who were menstruating and who had terrible, terrible dysmenorrhea and who had to go to school, and with all of the sanitary issues that come about simply because we have endometrium sloughing. But the process of shedding the inside layer, and it is fairly significant. It would be about 1/8 of an inch of tissue that sloughs off, and it sloughs off by being washed away by blood. And that is a very painful process, and certainly inflammation is what kicks it into action. The changes in the hormones cause an inflammatory state, and the issues can sometimes be localized. You can have pain in and around the area of your lower abdomen, or it can be, as Ali told us, like a full body migraine. And the effects of it can be devastating systemically. So being able to control it in a natural way without having to run to the drugstore for non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, Midol, or other things which have been conceived specifically for dysmenorrhea is really a tremendous relief. And in Allie's case, as is the case with many young women, the irregularity of their periods will sometimes cause a shortened cycle. And that is meaning that they have dysfunction at more than a monthly issue. It becomes a real problem. And for some of these young people, the pain can go for several days before the beginning of a period right to a week or more afterwards. And this is inflammation. It is inflammation that the body initiates, this time not by mistake. Remember that we've talked before about the fact that chronic inflammatory conditions are very often a mistake sort of on the body's part. The immune system is dysfunctional, and the no purpose is served by the inflammation. In this case, there is an obvious purpose, and it is an integral part of it, but it can be controlled. And while it can't be controlled completely or as well as it has been in Allie, for everybody, the fact that you're not taking medicines which are dangerous, because the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory group of medicines is responsible for enormous complications in the GI tract. They can cause very serious life-threatening bleeds. They can cause a condition where there will be an inflammation of the stomach for weeks after they have been used. They are dangerous for the kidney on a chronic basis, dangerous for the liver on a chronic basis. And there is little doubt that if you can have something natural, which you cannot overdose on, so that you could take 3 or 4, if you needed, to increase additively the effect of the anti-inflammatory push that the mangosteen and the other antioxidants in this product give, plus all of the other benefits that come with it. So is it worth trying? Absolutely. Who should try it? Well, in this case, half the population, pretty much, should, if they have difficulty with their menstrual cycle, should be testing to see whether this will make a difference. Now, the inflammation that is present in young women who are menstruating is also present in that 10-year period, because it can sometimes extend up to 10 years of what is called the perimenopausal period, several years before menopause and several years after menopause, as the body attempts to adjust to a striking change in the hormonal regulation. By hormones, we mean things that act at a distance from where they are produced. And the female hormones are certainly important for so many parts of the human physiology as far as being a female is concerned, that there is a tremendous disruption at the time of menopause. And this is also applicable at that time. So tonight, as we address the uniquely female need for anti-inflammation, we can clearly tell you that the inflammatory cascades, now these are the chemical changes that go where one one biological chemical will move to another one, to another one, to another one, until finally at the bottom you have a messenger molecule that is going to stimulate inflammation, cause pain, and in the case of so many women, cause suffering. And of those 5 major cascades, inflammatory cascades, 3, and more information as it's coming to light in recent months indicates that maybe 4 of the 5 are significantly blocked by the effects of the mangosteen. Now, I don't know, quite frankly, as well, the other ingredients that are in those other antioxidants, all of them with a tremendous history as far as traditional medicine is concerned, and with plenty of research that you can take a look on PubMed and find. Any one of them will have a large number of papers for it. I don't follow them quite as well as I follow the mangosteen, but as I watch the mangosteen, if you went to PubMed and put in mangosteen as a search word and put in inflammation as a search word, you're going to see well over 40 or 50 papers that are going to come up and explain how it is that this wonderful fruit contains things that the body can use. It isn't a medicine, it's a food. And when you take it in, then the body can use those phytochemicals to extraordinary results in being able to contrary this inflammatory cascade, which can cause so much pain, whether we're talking things that are physiological, such as menses, or whether we're talking about diseases such as autoimmune arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, muscle pain, aches, all kinds of things, even as simple as coming home from a workout at the gym. You can have the kind of relief that you require, knowing that it is safe, knowing that no matter how much of it you take, you're not going to get in trouble like you could if you were using medication in order to do it. Now, I think Hallie told me that she has a new doctor, and she hasn't quite established the relationship with that new doctor. Her old doctor retired, and she hasn't established a full working relationship with that doctor. And when she went in to see him, she said the first thing he did was reach for his prescription pad. And that's the way doctors are trained. But so often we can do without the trip to the doctor, without the cost that is involved, without the inconvenience that is involved, by simply taking something that is safe, comes from nature, and has a good deal of science and traditional medicine behind it. Try it, see if it works for you. And if it does, you've got a wonderful story, a case study of one that allows you to talk completely openly anywhere you choose about what you have experienced. We cannot make claims in general for natural products because the kind of science that is required by the FDA and the FTC simply doesn't exist. And it's not going to exist. It's not simply a question of let's hold on and wait until this evidence comes. You cannot patent natural products. And therefore, the incentive and the margins that would be necessary for the tremendous financial expenses that would be involved in doing the kinds of trials that would allow you to make claims, that's never going to happen. This is going to move forward very much the same way that, quote, old wives' tales move forward. Someone has an experience. It turns out to be beneficial for them. They talk about it. They speak about it to people who are like them and who trust them, and that individual makes a trial of one, tries for themselves and sees it. Now, I've said before that in my experience with the preparations that I have used in the past and with this current variation of the core, that 6 out of 10 people who try it, who have significant pain from chronic disease or from situations such as dysmenorrhea, that 6 out of 10 are likely going to be able to experience a rather dramatic change that they can identify without the help of someone saying, well, have you noticed this? Have you noticed this? They will already know that something has changed substantially. And it's met with wonderment. Literally. I remember I had a mother who had 3 little asthmatic kids. Her husband had asthma as well. He had rather severe asthma, and so he was on several medications, and it would have been inappropriate to try and replace those with something that was not tried and true. So we helped him, but the little children had less asthma than he did. They had mild intermittent asthma. And it would be bothering them in one case when he was a young boy who was playing sports and would get into the cool weather, or just the exertion would cause him to tighten up and to wheeze. And I had them on a drug which was called Singulair. It was a wonderful little drug when we found it, because at first we only had a big hammer to go after asthma when we were using it. We had tremendously strong drugs, and then drugs which were a little bit more selective and worked without tremendous side effect profiles, because Singular is not a drug with a tremendous amount of problems. But that drug was completely eliminated from my practice. I didn't ever use it again, because I could take a plant and I could know that if I gave this plant to people who were needing that drug and who had had relief from it, that if I gave them this plant, that the majority of them would be able to do without medication in the future for the thing that they had been having to spend significant money for and be worried about, and have to have nurses' permission to use it at school, rather than simply giving a little container that a child could take that was having food in it, because they don't need permission to use food at school, but they do need permission and supervision to be able to use drugs at school. So generally speaking, the benefits of the mangosteen, and in this case the core, which contains the strongest mangosteen preparation on the markets today, is just good news. It really is nothing but good news. I have seen people who unfortunately were allergic to some of the ingredients in it, but never a life-threatening allergy. They would break out in hives, which made it kind of impossible for them to use it. But like I said, again, the majority of people are not going to have adverse effects, and the majority of people will have such beneficial effects that they meet the results with wonderment, surprise, and are just really amazed that, my goodness, I no longer have to worry so much about that. And for me, that's a payday.
Absolutely. That really is. So, Allie, I got a question for you that I know that everybody's wondering, and that is, how many of the core sticks are you taking a day? So how often are you mixing it in something? Tell us a little bit about how it is that you take it.
Okay, I only take it once a day because I'm a cheapskate, and also it works for me that way, so I'm good. I don't ordinarily mix it with anything, mostly because I haven't had the opportunity to buy Smart yet. I've hopefully hoping to make an order with Smart and Soul later this week. I have occasionally mixed it with Go, and I absolutely love the flavor of Core and Go together. And I'm a person who discovered in college that a caffeinated soda would make me crash really hard a little while after. So it would work for a very little while, and then it would crash, and I would crash. So I've gone without like caffeine helping me throughout most of my adult life. But I was like, I would love a chance, especially because I have a preschooler, and I get really tired in the afternoons. And so if I do Core and Go together with lunch, I can go all afternoon, and I never have to slow down, and I never have to take a break or take a nap or anything. I can just go and have that nice constant energy for the rest of the day, and then I can go to sleep when it's time to go to sleep. So that's the only thing I've really mixed it with is Go, but I really definitely believe in that combination too.
Well, let me say this, AJ, before we leave. You're going to learn things from your friends with regard to natural solutions to problems that sometimes are really quite outstanding. I was sitting in a dinner party the other evening, and I heard one lady talking to someone that she just met at the dinner party about the fact that she had terrible migraines and that she had carpal tunnel. And every time that she had a pregnancy, she was pretty much incapacitated by carpal tunnel. And this lady said to her, you know, I used to have migraines and I used to have carpal tunnel, but I am using this little product, and she talked about the mangosteen, and I just use it with some bile salts, and I haven't had a headache in months. Now think of that. A simple a homeopathic remedy, a bile salt preparation, combined with a natural product like the mangosteen, and two very, very serious illnesses that cause distress and pain to lots of people, carpal tunnel and migraine headaches, could possibly be relieved. How could you not look at that as a payday?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's the thing. Make sure that you're stocked up on your core AO. Well, you want to get your go too, but your core AO, because the results that we're seeing and the testimonies we're hearing, these are results that it's not just people that are having something that feels good. These are things that are changing people's lives. And when you've got something that changes people's lives, that's when you want to share about it and share your testimony about it and share what is happening and what you're seeing happen into those around you that are taking this also. So thank you again, Allie. Appreciate you being on the call with us tonight. And again, Dr. Tippleman, of course, appreciate you. Anything else before we say goodbye?
I just want to tell you how exciting it is to work with all these ladies who have come over from Jamberry. I have met so many wonderful people. Allie's just one of them. That is really extraordinary for me to be able to talk to these people who are so energetic and who have such a wonderful organization without a single man in it.
Yeah. Well, then we get to talk about subjects like tonight.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, thank you again so much. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow night. We've got we have the corporate business call that we do training on every Tuesday evening. Also on Thursday night is the call with Kat Barnes and the Cat Call training that goes on there. Saturday mornings, we have the call that Dennis and Sue Ligon host that call, and you're going to find all kinds of things that are happening. You get to hear special announcements on that call. And then again, on Mondays, especially in the mornings, Andy Willoughby has Getting Started with the smart calls on Monday mornings. So you don't want to miss those. If you want to know how to get on the calls, not sure, well, when are they? How do I get logged in on them? Go to empowerplan.com/calendar, or just empowerplan.com and go click on the calendar. And then you're going to have a whole list of all the calls that are coming in, and with the links there, and it'll have all the calls for the entire week. And you can get plugged into it. And we'll talk to y'all later. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody.